A lot has been going on, even in the 24 hours since we last kicked off a show. And I think it'd be fair to say you're getting coverage here that you're not going to get anywhere else, particularly in relation to the shifting sands in the news media industry. And, of course, the big news this week that'll be all over Women's Day and people crying on the television and emoting everywhere and not really manning up or personing up. The closure of Newshub. The latest really on that, or the latest thing of any significance, and of course this is being reported by the mainstream media, who are not at all interested in the wider context of why this happened or how this happened. They're just saying, oh, it's terrible and democracy is going to fall. I see Mike Morra, who is one of the journalists at Newshub I absolutely and totally rate, and I think a lot of other people in the news sort of environment also rate him. He says staff are going to get together and talk with management about keeping something going and paring down what they offer, hauling in their correspondence, running a bare bones news service for Newshub. I should have actually made the prediction because I made it privately to some people. This is what always happens. Oh, we can save it. The journalists can take over. No. Your big bosses with the billions of dollars at Warner Brothers will not be interested, and it will be a nice romantic little escapade that you have, thinking that somehow people power and all those clashing journalistic egos will somehow come in together and make a kumbaya collective that, saves all your jobs without you taking significant pay cuts and, more importantly, collectively deciding to stop being so woke. Of course, that's never going to happen. And to be honest, the people with the calculators, the accountants sitting in Los Angeles are not interested. So there's my prediction on that. Oh, and then it'll be, the bastards never gave us a chance. Well, the truth is, and I think it's become very clear, not in mainstream media, but in off-stream media or new media or citizen media, that one of the reasons you've failed is that you stopped listening, that you did turn off the comments section, that you were woke, that you attacked people like Posey Parker and called them Nazis when they weren't, that you were silly. And you fomented division in New Zealand rather than reflecting what was happening in New Zealand. And I want to talk about the challenges of going independent or what has happened in media. And I'm sorry in some ways, I'll apologise if you feel I'm banging on about the story, but the fact is, here at the platform, we like to keep it on the level, and we need to balance the utter lack of serious critical examination by mainstream media about what is happening in this industry, which is the fourth estate and is important to democracy. A lot of reaction to my long chat with Mark Jennings, formerly editor of 3 News yesterday, and his complete memory failure when it came to the Posey Parker story. So today I thought I'd talk to another foundation pupil, along with me, of the first chief of staff, I think, of 3 News back in 1989, and a guy who went on to leave and to do his own thing, and I think rather successfully, though once again you won't read about him in the mainstream newspapers, and he's been on the platform a few times, a guy called Ian Wishart. And Ian runs Investigate magazine, which has morphed into an online site and does some fantastic work. So Ian joins us on the blower now. Ian, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Sean.
And look, you've been fighting the independent battle longer than I have, but what were your feelings, firstly, on the demise of Newshub, which really was the last vestige of TV3 and 3 News?
Well, like you, as a founding member of that newsroom, in 1989, it was like watching lending a car to the kids and watching them crash it. And, sadly, I mean, it's mixed emotions, and former TV3 staff like ourselves have been discussing this in online channels for some time now. But you're right, the newsroom has suffered from, in a sense, wokeness, which is part of the problem, but it's not the only part of the problem. The bigger part of the problem is that the way that people consume news has changed. And I was forced to walk the plank from mainstream media several decades ago when I published the book The Paradise Conspiracy and started off my own publishing company and did my own thing. And you likewise have had to walk away from places and you've started up a successful enterprise as well. people haven't stopped consuming news. It's the way that they're consuming it is just different. And linear TV is a very, very expensive beast. It doesn't help when the newsroom is on a crusade to change the world and change society as it sees it. But it's not the only problem that they've got.
Okay, so emotional sadness, but not a surprise to you what happened.
Yeah, I mean, part of the thing that we've noticed in the new media is that you've got to listen to your audience and understand where people are and where they're coming from. And if you continue to beat your head against the wall and try and say, well, all the audience are dumb, they don't understand us, then you're going to run into problems. So that's your audience alienation thing. But as I said, if you look at linear TV, and in fact many entertainment shows on TV, they're all woke. And they've been woke for decades. So wokeness is not the central problem. It's the one that we're beating them around the ears with, but it's not the central problem. The central problem is that, as I said, TV is incredibly expensive to make. And also that if people are busy driving and commuting and they can't sit down and watch the linear TV channels and news and so forth, then they're not going to deliver the audience. And I saw a piece in the paper this morning about Shortland Street as an example. Back in the day when I was still in TV and you were still in TV, Shortland Street rated through the roof with highs in the key demographics of 350,000 or more. And one commentator was saying this morning that they'd be lucky to get a third of that now on linear TV on Shortland Street. So Shortland Street's up for debate. And this is just a function of the fact that people are no longer sitting down to watch. They don't have the time to watch an entire bulletin program like that without doing something else in the meantime, multitasking. So, and if you don't understand that problem, and I think Warner Brothers Discovery are understanding it. I'm not sure that the journalists at Newshub necessarily understand the problem with it. And good luck to Michael Moore. Like you, I rate him very highly. But I don't see Discovery coming to their rescue on this one. This is going to have to be newsroom-led, and they'll have to start their own company like everyone else has. I mean, staff has to divide themselves out and decide what they're going to do.
Do you think they're next, Ian?
It's a hard one. I don't like to see media diversity lost. I mean, for all of my criticisms of the stuff in Newshub and the politics.
Hang on. I just want to hold you up there. And are they that diverse? Pretty hard. You could throw a blanket over the editorial attitudes. Editorial attitudes of Stuff, Television New Zealand, TV3, Radio New Zealand, Spin-Off, Newsroom. They're all selling the same snake oil.
They are various heads of the same hydra. But by the same token, there is a need for a plurality of voices, and we're providing it in the new media, and other citizen entities are providing it. The mainstream media need to realise that unless they connect with their audience, they're all going to be lost. And so you can't continue to tell your audience you're a bunch of half-wits.